Hello folks, we're here with Betty. She's a 4-year-old Percheron quarter horse cross that we've had for about 10 months now. And she's had pretty regular riding throughout that period of time, doing well. A couple of different challenges with this type of horse that I'm not completely used to encountering with the more performance bred horses. One of which is she's a little stiffer in the bridle. She will push back on you and brace a little more than the sort of hotter bred horses. Now, along with that comes a very quiet demeanor and a willingness to cover ground and a willingness to just go along with her head free, which is very nice. But I believe in having it both ways. So I've sort of revived a couple of old strategies that I used when I had stiffer type horses to soften her face up, to get her given in the bridle. Remembering all the time that it's not just about her face, it's about her engaging at the same time. So if all I do is wrestle her face down, she may actually give easily or more easily than if I add leg and ask her to step up into the bridle. But it'll be a sort of a false collection. It'll be a headset without engagement. So in each and every one of these 3 different exercises that I'm going to visit, you definitely want to be using your legs more than your hands. So it's legs, 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 hands in that proportion, about 3 to 1. You're going to use your legs about 3 times as much as your hands. And that way your horse will get soft through their whole body, not just turn to mush up here in their face, like you see in some Western horses, and believe it or not, even in some dressage horses who have more headset than engagement. So I'll show you the one maneuver, and I'll do it on the off side here. I call this the thumb hook. And it doesn't work for everybody, sort of a warning in advance. It does not work for everybody. I think it helps me to have the long arms that I have. You can put yourself at risk if you do this and lean out over your horse. You don't want to do that because if they threw their head up, you'd have a problem. You might need your dentist on speed dial. So I'm going to come across here. I'll do it on the left. Going to pick up on the rein and then just hook my thumb with the rein goes through your thumb like so. Reach down and take your thumb across her neck, and then you hold that there and you drive her forward. And this will help to soften them up. You see where her head's going? One thing that this tends to do, which you may or may not want depending on your horse, it can tend to get them to drop lower than you might always want, but it will definitely soften them up. So legs are active and she's given. Then I give back. Now, while we're talking about unusual stuff that I've sort of hit upon that has been effective, here's a little something I'll do when I release them. I won't just release them. I'll rub on their neck and push down. Push down and move their neck around. Just let them know that there's no need to do anything but relax right now. That they've got complete release. I watched a guy named Dustin Sapola start a colt. And the colt was real troubled, real braced when he got on it. And instead of really kicking on it with any force, he just reached up and he fooled with its neck. And as it became less stiff, its feet went forward and it didn't buck as it might have done otherwise. So I'll do that. It's a way to release them. And if they wander too much, you bring them back into the fold. So here's your thumb hook. Again, right across her neck. It can be up further or it can be back further. Always in front of the saddle pad. The reason I think this works is you automatically are following the line of their own neck. So anatomically, You're not asking them to do anything artificial. They're just putting their head into a position that matches their neck, if that makes sense. So I'm going to trot her forward, and I like to do it to the inside, but what I'm not going for is a lot of bend. This is more, so if she floats to the outside, I'll pick up some outside rein and bring her over. And as you can see, we've been working quite a little bit on her canterty part. So if she's just a hair trigger today, that's okay, I understand. This is a horse that really tries pretty hard to do the right thing. So you can see she's offering to canter, and I'm saying you don't have to do that right now. And then I'll reverse that, but I'm gonna let her have a little bit of free time. I'm gonna reach down and just push on her. Reach up, lock her down, keep the legs going, use a little outside rein to bring her over, and give back. And you might have heard her sigh there. That's never a bad thing to hear. Pick up on that outside rein to move her over, but keep her soft. And what you're doing is you're keeping them in a fairly straight position, but you're only working on one side of their mouth, and that's a lot less challenging for them. Whoa. So you can see when she stopped, she wanted to pick her nose up, so I asked her to take a step or two back. So that's the thumb hook. It's not something I've seen other people use per se, and I've only had a handful of people who actually went ahead and tried it and made it work. It's a little odd, but it's worked well for me over time, and it's actually relaxing for a horse. Now I'm going to see if she can stand here. My thumb is across her neck, hook down, and there. She's a little troubled. I'm just going to hold her till she can stand there in the bridle. She doesn't have to back up. She doesn't have to go forward. She just needs to relax. And this is a good lesson that I haven't done with her before. She thinks when you pick up on the rein, it always means to move, and it doesn't. There. And she fell back, but I think maybe she's getting the message. And I'll lock her down to the left, see if she'll stand here, see if she'll stand here. There we go. And I'm just looking for that instant right now. Then she'll give, stay in the bridle, but not move backward or forward. So she's still loaded. And the problem is, she wants to pull the trigger. Don't necessarily hate her for that. So the second softening exercise that I'll do is real simple. It involves softening and steering at the same time. And I think we visited this one or two times before in some context on these episodes. But what I want to show you is that this is a little different because unlike the other one, you are incorporating both reins, and I'm picking my hand up. Pick my hand up, steer in. Pick my hand up, steer in, but not too much. And keep those legs going. Let her line out a bit, pick up, steer over. Give her a bunch of slack when she runs off and heads off in the wrong direction. That's a good opportunity to pick up. But you're keeping your hands up and you're holding her until she steers where you want her. Hold, steer, hold, steer, hold, steer. Comes in, you release. And that ends up being relaxing to them as well. Hold, steer. steer. So she's looking for that lope, and that's okay. This is a good thing to be doing with her, not loping her, because you don't want her to get trigger happy there. See, her head's going up. I'm going to hold her till it comes down. Hold her till it comes down. There we go. See, she gets a little troubled. And this is just a bit more challenging. And I'm not letting her out of the bridle till she gives that up. And then I can just relax, rub on her a little, give her a whole lot of slack. Because if you don't give them much slack back, you don't get that new feel of their mouth when you pick up again, or pick up again. And there we go. So this is a good day to do this, because she is a bit troubled about a few little things, like wanting to lope all the time, getting a little defensive, and this is going to help her to come through that. And there, she picked up her nose, but she lowered it a whole lot quicker. There, she never picked up her nose that time. And I got to use my legs on her to keep her from just ducking her head. There we go, a little leg. So if you watch, I'm just doing what it takes to keep her from getting stiff. I don't want her in such a pattern. Now we'll up the degree of difficulty and just change directions, and that'll often get their head up. Not too bad. Not too bad. But you see, my hands are up. And she's learning not to pick her head up just because my hands are up in riding position. So unlike the thumb hook, where you've got your hands down a bit, here they have to find you instead of you finding them. Whoa. And she actually stopped a little nicer that time, if you noticed. Didn't lean into me, and I appreciate that. So those are two ways, the thumb hook and the lift and steer type exercises, where you teach the horse to find that relief. The thumb hook is real simple. When they tuck their head and bring their back end up underneath them, you give them slack. The second exercise is a little challenging because you're asking them to move over, and once they see that that's the way out, they'll both steer and soften better. And because they have a reason, because they're doing something, you wind up with a horse that sees a way out and is more contented. Now, here is a third way that is more demanding, a little harder to comprehend, and not as forgiving. And she's been around this long enough that she's ready to do this, but see, I don't know if I've done this with her before. I think of this as the spread. I open my hands up. I don't do this. Distinctly do not do that. I keep my hands up at about, the saddle horn level or even a little higher. I ask her to trot, and I've got my hands real broad. And see how she's saying, I want to bend my head, and I'm saying that's not necessary unless I ask for it. So I'm using this spread to trap her and show her she has to find the middle of those bridle reins. And that's a problem for her. And then she did give a bit. I'm going to be forgiving and give her a little slack and rub on her neck. Then I'm going to take a hold. Take a hold. You can see she's already figuring out that when your hands are that broad apart, there's really no place she can go that evades the bridle. She can give, She can go down a bit, she can pick up a bit, but she's not gonna flip her nose up and get that done. She's not gonna veer away. See, and I'm picking up, holding, and giving her back. And as she relaxes, she's actually dropping down a bit. Don't want that to get too much, but the instinct is good. Instead of getting above the bridle like she did when we first started out, then you up the degree of difficulty by changing directions. But you can see from her movement, if you watch her hind legs, they're driving up underneath her pretty well. See if she wants to fall in. I'm just going to hold her out a little bit. That's the advantage to that broad spread that you've got here. So you're a form of infinitely adjustable human side reins in doing this. And I'm just going to steer her to the left, not let her fall in because she wanted to fall in. There we go. Whoa. There. So what I'm pleased with, she went through some rough patches. So we started out pretty calm. She was just relaxed, just going out for a little ride. Then we challenged her a bit. In the middle of your ride is where the rough patch is going to occur. And that's really where the learning occurs. But at the end of the session, you want the picture that we finished on with her relaxing and being calmer than she was, or at least as calm as she was when we started the process in the beginning. So that's 3 different things you can do that can really help your horse in the bridle. And you may find when you try them on your horse that you find some stiff spots you didn't even recognize. Start with the simplest one, that little thumb hook. Then go to picking up and driving them forward and bending them and just a little around a curve, and then spread your hands out. I mean, not in a day, but over the course of a couple of weeks. And you'll see a progression, and you'll find those stiff spots and can eradicate them. If it helps, you're welcome to it. See you next time.